In the high-octane world of NASCAR, few names carry as much weight as Dale Earnhardt Jr. The son of a racing legend, Jr. carved out his own impressive career spanning nearly 2 decades. From 1999 to 2017, he dominated tracks across America, collecting 26 Cup Series victories, including 2 prestigious Daytona 500 wins in 2004 and 2014. NASCAR fans consistently showed their appreciation, voting him the Cup Series most popular driver for 15 consecutive years from 2003 to 2017. But behind the glory, the podium finishes, and the roaring crowds, Dale Jr. harbored a secret. There was an aspect of his professional racing career that he absolutely detested. What could possibly make a racing superstar so miserable? What dark side of NASCAR had him counting down the days? Let's explore. In a candid moment on the popular Bussin With The Boys podcast, Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a stunning confession that has reverberated throughout the racing community. The NASCAR Hall of Famer revealed that practice sessions were the bane of his existence throughout most of his career.
I was happy where I ended up and wanted to stay there till I retired, and I was lucky enough to do that.
That's awesome.
I know we're wrapping up, but in football, when you're playing, or any sport in general, like there's things you hate doing, but then when you leave the sport, you're like,
practice.
Man, I miss that.
Practice.
That's what you miss?
Practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated practice because practice was...
This admission comes as a surprise to many racing enthusiasts who might assume drivers relish every moment behind the wheel. But according to Earnhardt, these mandatory practice sessions represented something entirely different from the thrill of competition.
In testing, you go to a racetrack in the middle of the week, weeks before you're going to race there. And you're by yourself usually. There might be another team there, but usually you're by yourself. And you're out there running alone. And it's you and your team. You go out and run 5-10 laps, come in, make a change. And it's very monotonous and boring. And you're just running, and you almost get bored of telling them the feedback. Okay, yeah, that made it a little better. I didn't feel anything. We're just doing nothing here. I'm just spinning my wheels.
The tedium came not just from driving without competition, but from the repetitive nature of providing technical feedback without any of the excitement that comes with actual racing.
And you're just running, and you almost get bored of telling them the feedback. Okay, yeah, that made it a little better. I didn't feel anything. We're just doing nothing here. I'm just spinning my wheels. But the team's got a process, and they got a plan for those 2 days you're testing, and they are going to get through that plan and learn everything they want to learn and then go home. Mm-hmm. You don't realize that as a driver. You're just bored to death.
Weekend practices weren't much better in his estimation. While closer to race day, these sessions still lacked the competitive element that made racing thrilling for Earnhardt.
When you practice on the race weekends, everyone else is out there, but it's the same thing. You're practicing, changing things, your team's learning. It's not a race. There's no checkered flag. There's no winner, loser. You're just making laps, and it's like an hour or whatever. And I hated it. I thought it was boring, and I hated to get ready and go do it, and it was getting in the way of whatever I wanted to do. But I wanted to race. The race was fun. I was excited about the race, but the practice was just kind of boring.
For years, this sentiment remained private as Earnhardt went through the motions, dutifully participating in practice sessions while internally counting down the minutes until he could race for real. People often say that perspective comes with time. For Dale Earnhardt Jr., this wisdom arrived during the twilight of his career at Kansas Speedway in 2017. With only 5 races remaining in his Cup Series career, something unexpected happened during a practice session. Sitting in his car at Kansas, surrounded by the familiar sounds and sights of a NASCAR garage, Earnhardt experienced what can only be described as an epiphany. This moment of clarity would fundamentally change how he viewed the very aspect of racing he had despised for so long.
I was sitting in my car, and I think I was at Kansas Motor Speedway, and we're in the middle of practice. And I sat there, and it just dawned on me. I was like, there'll be a day in a very short period of time where I won't ever practice again. And I was watching my guys. They were meandering around the car, changing little things, jacking the car up, gonna adjust this, gonna adjust that. And they're just moving around, and I got to watching them.
The weight of this realization hit him hard as he contemplated the finality of his career decisions.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss this part. I hated this part, and I should have appreciated it more. But I'm gonna miss watching my guys that I love. I love these guys. They're my guys. I'm gonna miss watching them work.
This pivotal moment at Kansas represents a profound shift in Earnhardt's perspective. After years of resenting practice sessions, he suddenly found himself confronting the impending loss of something he hadn't properly valued. The irony wasn't lost on him. Discovering appreciation for something only when faced with its permanent absence, the revelation speaks to a universal truth about human nature. We often take for granted the everyday aspects of our lives, focusing instead on highlights and peak moments. For Earnhardt, the races were the highlights, but the practices, tedious as they seemed, were integral to the complete experience of being a NASCAR driver. As retirement loomed, Earnhardt began to recognize the value in what he had previously dismissed. The practice sessions weren't just about driving in circles. They represented something much deeper. The human connection formed during those long hours of practice suddenly became apparent to him. These weren't just mechanical exercises. They were bonding experiences with his team.
And they're going to try to fix it. I'm going to miss trying to fix that puzzle with them and work on it. And, I think I knew I was going to miss driving in the race. I knew I was going to miss the competition, right? But it was the prep work that I thought I hated that I ended up missing as well.
What Earnhardt came to value was the collaborative problem-solving that occurred during practice, the relationship between driver and crew, the shared mission to perfect the vehicle, the incremental improvements that came from hours of testing. All of these elements combined to create a unique dynamic that would be impossible to replicate outside of professional racing.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Do you ever remember those times? Like, I can remember a few situations where you're kind of sitting there and you're kind of taking it in, just being like, as much as this shit sucks. Because practice did, like training camp, there'd just be them days where you're just in the middle of the season or whatever.
This realization underscores an important distinction between enjoyment and fulfillment. The races brought enjoyment, immediate gratification, and excitement. The practices, however, brought a different kind of satisfaction. The fulfillment that comes from diligent preparation, teamwork, and mastery of craft. Earnhardt's reflections on practice sessions opened the door to a broader discussion about the realities of NASCAR competition. During the same podcast appearance, he provided rare insight into the delicate relationship between driver ability and vehicle performance.
The car is a really big part of the success or failure that you're going to have that day. And so your guys, it's your body and it's your preparation and all you go out there, and if you're talented and you've prepared and you know your opponent, you go out there and it's you, right? But as a driver, you kind of a lot of times are at the mercy of the ability of the car and if it can do it or not. And
this admission cuts to the heart of a persistent debate in racing circles. How much of success is attributable to driver's skill versus equipment quality? According to Earnhardt, the first moments of a race provide critical information.
And you'll start the race and run like a handful of corners, and you're judging the car. You're going, is this damn thing any good? Is it going to be better? Is it better than that guy? I'm catching him. I'm caught him there. Yeah, okay. I'm doing this right. It's doing that right.
But when things aren't going well, the experience can quickly turn negative.
Or it's sucking and you're out of control and you don't have the grip and you're losing positions and guys are on your ass and breathing down your neck. And your confidence in the car determines whether you spiral down or continue to do well.
The first pit stop becomes a crucial opportunity to address any issues with the vehicle.
In the very first handful of laps, a driver is really just judging this car and critiquing the car. And okay, if it's not great, we're going to have a chance to fix it on the first pit stop. Pull down pit road, tell the crew chief everything you can to give him all the information you can so he can make the best choice to fix the car, improve the car.
But there's no guarantee that problems can be solved during a race. Sometimes drivers must simply endure a difficult day on the track.
You go back out there. All right, did he fix this son of a bitch? We're going to get the green flag and continue the race. Either it's improved and you're happy. Hey, great job, man. You fucking fixed my problem. I'm better. Or he didn't fix it at all. It didn't make a damn bit of difference. And now you're like doubting the ability of your team and yourself to even make the day better.
He added.
And sometimes it doesn't get better. Sometimes you just have a car that doesn't do what you want it to do, and you got to drive the son of a gun for 3.5 hours, and it sucks.
The flip side, of course, is when everything goes right from the start.
But some days you start with a bad car, make it better, and you have a great day, and you're proud of that. You're proud of your guys, and some days you start the race and shit's badass, and it's awesome all day.
But his overarching message was clear and somewhat sobering. Even the most talented drivers face limitations imposed by their equipment. Earnhardt concluded,
but you're always reliant on this car to like do things. And you can be the best race car driver, smartest guy, know everything you need to know. And if your car sucks, you can't overcome that, right? You can't will that car into being what it can't do.
These insights provide a glimpse into the psychological challenges NASCAR drivers face. Every race becomes a complex interplay between driver skill, vehicle performance, team communication, and mechanical adjustments, with success or failure determined by how well these elements align. Earnhardt's newfound appreciation for practice sessions comes at an interesting time in NASCAR's evolution. The sport has undergone significant changes in recent years, with practice time being dramatically reduced. During Earnhardt's career, practice sessions typically lasted over an hour. Today's drivers often receive just 20 minutes to acclimate to their vehicles and track conditions. This shift represents a fundamental change in how teams prepare for races. Interestingly, Earnhardt has become an outspoken advocate for increasing practice time in NASCAR. On the Dale Jr. Download podcast, he addressed the issue directly, using Catherine Legge's Challenging Cup Series debut as an example. Earnhardt said this to his co-host TJ Majors, "I gotta say this, man, we don't have any practice. The lack of practice and the problems that creates are glaring. It's in our faces every other week, but we kinda choose to ignore it because there's a lot of drivers they'd rather not have practice." He further suggested that additional practice time could help create more competitive races by allowing teams to fine-tune their vehicles.